Okay, we're here with our community table who are also involved in the arts as well. I feel like these guys can speak well to this issue. Let me do some introductions. Welcome back to the program, Terra Fam, Brain Drain Collective, amongst many other things that you have your hands in and you're contributing to the St. Louis fabric. Henry Goldkamp, if you haven't heard of him, you may have heard about him on NPR recently, something involving typewriters. We'll talk about that in just a second. Tara Daniels, also something you may have heard of with the St. Louis Fringe Festival. You're involved with that. Okay, so tell me what you're hearing in this discussion, first of all, because we want to get the community voice, and that's what you're representing here. As people with your hands in the arts, what's on the tip of your tongue?
Well, just responding to the conversation with Bill Cleveland, I think that art is a huge economic stimulus for the St. Louis region in particular. So I'm not sure the question of comparing the artist to the engineer is necessarily fair, because a lot of it has to do with your environment. And in St. Louis, we have so many opportunities for growth and development. And I think artists are really filling a need that people like engineers and maybe urban planners and other government officials, for example, aren't meeting by being creative with the spaces we have available, by creating things out of what are considered, liabilities and turning them into assets, that whole thing.
So are artists responsible for helping us with our vision of our future here a little bit? Is that what you're saying?
I believe so. I believe that artists are kind of the voices of the community. So they live in these places and they're saying the same things that their neighbors are saying. And so those voices sometimes get echoed out throughout the world, throughout the state, whatever you want to say. So they're representatives of that community as well.
Tell me what you're doing with the typewriters. and the reason I ask is because I want to know what value you think that brings to our community.
Based on both what Tara and Tara just had to say, and in my current project, What the Hell is St. Louis Thinking, where I have 40 typewriter stations strewn across the city, constantly shifting, constantly moving. Essentially just a platform for St. Louisans to type out their thoughts, drop it in a box, and the end product, which will be a book out in early 2014. Art to me, public art in particular, is the great equalizer. Sort of knocks down these walls we have, especially talking about St. Louis. It's, in my opinion, a fractured town in many ways, in many different ways, economically, racially, and the like. And in my mind, healthy art knocks down these walls, mends these sort of torn sinews amongst things. There's 79 neighborhoods in the city alone, and the city is fairly small. 79 is a big number.
So is this equalizer accessible enough?
I believe so. I think that that's what good art does, is it makes it accessible. You definitely have two different, I would say, for lack of a better term, scenes here on the art scene. You have sort of, like Bill Cleveland was saying, the beret, the champagne, the art galleries, the lifestyle, but there's also a small art scene here, and it's extremely accessible. In both what Tara does at Sloop, with her bringing people together, voting on an artistic idea. People talk the whole time, people make connections. What STL Fringe does as well. Brings people out, sees things, talk to people. The artists there are also extremely accessible. I have no problem walking up to somebody, telling them about what they do. And I think that St. Louis is a great opportunity for that, for any artist.
So go ahead, Tara.
Well, I just wanted to comment because Henry made a really good point that I think in St. Louis there are lots of different kind of, for lack of a better word, strata in the art scene. So there are the pretty prestigious institutions. We have some of the most incredible arts institutions in the country here, our symphony, our art museum, many more than that, the Pulitzer Foundation. Many of them are here in Grand Center, actually, also. But I do sense that they're fairly removed from what I would call the St. Louis art scene, which maybe isn't a fair distinction, but I guess what I would call maybe the grassroots art scene. Some of the projects that Sloop highlights, or the performances that Fringe showcases, I think we're just getting to a point where hopefully the kind of institutional St. Louis art scene and that kind of on the ground scene are converging a little more, I hope.
When I said accessible, maybe I meant, is it widespread enough? Is every neighborhood participating or exposed?
Well, I know that in Henry's project that he's really hitting up all the neighborhoods. Right now, we're mostly in one neighborhood. We're in Grand Center. But we do try to reach out to artists in different neighborhoods, let them know that this is just a temporary space for you to work in, and we hope to have patrons go out to where you're at as well. So, we come here all for the same cause, to help the artists and to promote innovative arts. But we want to people to go back home, be able to share that art there, and maybe to have patrons go there and not feel like I can only go to this place because it's a place that I know. To know that I can go different places and the art is always there.
We have 30 seconds, a little less. Were you surprised at all when Bill said that he kind of gave us a little rave review there right off the top, saying that we have a pretty good scene for art? It's kind of a
There's a lot of collaboration, a lot of people talking to other people. It's a great place for an artist to get started, but you definitely have to have that where you need to go out, you need to talk. Shyness is a difficult thing to overcome, I think, for any artist. But as long as you're talking, other people are talking back. And there's been so much collaboration that I've seen, especially for an up-and-coming person that wants to get involved, a lot of opportunity.